Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the False Line Podcast. My name's Stephen, Luke, Charlie, and Connor here, the usual. Just going to do a review of all the Premier League games over the weekend, starting with Leeds v Chelsea. 0-0. I know Charlie and Luke wasted 2 hours of their free time to watch a 0-0 draw. But yeah, I was expecting probably, I think we all were expecting a bit more from that game. Leeds obviously love to attack. They're very open, they're very entertaining. But I think it just kind of, there was no, I don't know what it was. I remember I was watching the highlights or like the extended highlights of the game, and I just thought like there was no team that kind of took the game by the scruff of the neck. Like it was just a bit boring, you could say. And I think Chelsea, obviously, we know they're doing well on the 2-0, but they're kind of struggling to score and create more, like a lot of clear cut chances. But yeah, I know. I'll go to Charlie first on this one. Were you surprised at how like Leeds, first of all, didn't concede and or like didn't score either?
Yeah, the reason I watched the game is because I thought I'd see like two or three goals at least, and obviously it didn't pan out that way. And as you said, I ended up wasting my time. But I think it was 0-0, but it wasn't like the worst game. Like Havertz had a few chances that I think he should have converted. Both teams, they were trying to score, they just couldn't. They didn't seem to have the killer instinct in the box. Obviously, Leeds lost Bamford early on, and I think Chelsea, they are going after Haaland, I think, and they do need a striker, I would say, because even though Havertz, I would say he played well, I don't think he's an out and out number nine. So I think if Chelsea can improve their firepower, I think they could possibly contend for the title, along with possibly getting a centre back in, because although Rudiger and Christensen have been good, I wouldn't trust them over the course of a season to not make mistakes that could potentially cost you games.
Yeah, as you said, Havertz, he's not really now number nine. I think a lot of people were saying that if you paired him with like a Werner and go to 4-4-2, I think a lot of people think that's his best position. Um, but yeah, I was very surprised there was no goals, of course. But yeah, Luke, what do you think the problem is with? Well, there's not really a problem because they're still doing well. But what do you think is preventing Chelsea from creating more chances? Because like they definitely have the attacking firepower. Is it just the personnel up top aren't performing to their best, or is it the way they settle?
I'd probably say it's the personnel. I think obviously people make the excuse that they're still adapting to a new league, and when you put a lot of players in who have just come in to a new league, like they have a lot of players who they've recently just signed, they've kind of thrown them into a team, so it's kind of hard for them to get an understanding with each other. There's also been a lot of rotation from Tuchel. I don't really think that's helping either.
Yeah,
Pulisic was deployed at right wing back at one stage on the weekend. I'm not sure why. I think he's clearly a winger. I think people have been highlighting on Twitter Ziyech. He just doesn't seem to want to get into goal scoring positions. He did create a couple of chances, to be fair to him, but I think Chelsea in general, like they've signed all these players, but they are still missing that guy who's just going to score 20 to 25 goals a season.
yeah,
Because I
100%.
think they have all the players there to create for him, but they don't have that guy to score goals. I think Werner was supposed to be that guy, but I think he's been a failure, to be honest. I think he misses a lot of chances. I think if you compare him to other strikers in the league this season, I think you can say like compare him to Martial and Aubameyang, but I would say that Werner's got at least double the amount of chances that those two have had, and he's struggling to put them away. So I think Chelsea need to be looking at adding another attacker this summer, which just highlights their poor recruitment last summer, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say, like, imagine now, if Haaland went to them, obviously I think he's ruled them out because he did mention big clubs. Like he's talking Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, Man United. Like he's talking about big clubs, not clubs that were, made in 2003 or 2004. Um, but yeah, I think if they did get someone like that, like, and maybe a centre back, as Charlie said, like they'd be scary, scary. But as you said, like that is poor recruitment. Like I think they were probably thinking Timo Werner was going to be that guy, but like Havertz, Ziyech, and like it wasn't as if like Mount was bad last season either. I just didn't understand why they brought so much of those players in. But look, like, when they could have spent it on another centre back instead of bringing in a 36-year-old. But yeah, I think in terms of the top four hopes, like they're looking good. But we'll have to wait and see, of course. But Carl, just before we move on, Leeds. I just want to like obviously they didn't really show it at the weekend, but their style of play, like it's literally the talking point every week. It seems to be, oh, they're playing great football, we should be praising Bielsa, but like they could easily get hockey in games 3 or 4 now, and I think they've lost 6-2 to United or some shit this season. So, what do you think? Like, do you think that maybe Bielsa should adapt it and they'd be better off if he was a bit more pragmatic, or do you think he's getting the best out of the players playing the way they are?
I think even from the Championship and all the way up to the Premier League, like it's kind of been clear that he's all about attacking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think at the weekend, even though like Bamford went off injured, which would have rocked the team a bit, but to keep Chelsea out, who have been really, really good under Tuchel, like Leeds don't keep many clean sheets, so he'll be happy enough in that aspect. But I think his whole thing is to try and outscore teams, which, like, obviously from a neutral point of view, it's good to watch for the Premier League.
Yeah.
But I think if he'll sort of stay around mid-table, like they need to shore up with the defense if they want to sort of challenge for Europa League possibly next season. But as I said, I think he wants that exciting brand of football, and that's what the Leeds fans seem to want as well.
Yeah.
Like he's a legend in the club at the moment. And I'd say he'd be delighted to get the fans back in hopefully next season.
Yeah, definitely. I think the fans will help 100%, and they can maybe be, hopefully if they can hold on to like Rafinha. I know a lot of big clubs are looking at him now, and if they can hold on to him, sorry, let me switch my plans. Yeah, they can hold on to him, and then maybe bring in a couple more smart signings. They could be potential European challengers, like in terms of getting Europa League spots. But yeah, like moving on anyway to Fulham against champions elect City. Wait, it was Fulham City, yeah? They played a couple of times this week. Hang on. It is definitely Fulham
City.
Yeah,
City won 3-0 there,
yeah. Yeah, because I feel like they've played like 2 midweek games. Is that because they've played 30 and they've played a couple extra games than everyone else, but we'll talk about Fulham City. Fulham, obviously off the back of beating us, of course, fair play to them. I think everyone kind of knew that City were going to win. Like, there's not really much you can take from the game. Aguero being back is obviously a plus. I think we're kind of seeing the end of Aguero, unfortunately. But yeah, I think having a recognized number 9 has definitely. I think that's what Guardiola prefers to have. And I think it was just a handy win for them in the end. Of course, like 3-0. Fulham, like, I do rate Fulham. I actually do. I think they're unlucky to be where they are. But there's just some times where I'm kind of like, they do kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. Obviously, it's City, like you're expecting them to hammer them. But like, I think it is a little bit frustrating for fans that do like Fulham. I think a lot of Premier League fans do like Fulham. They like what Scott Park is doing. But at times, it's just like, I feel like they just shoot themselves in the foot. But Charlie, on Fulham, just in a wider aspect, do you think they can stay up? Like, do you think that the Scott Parker, like, take away the Man City game, because most teams lose to City nowadays, but do you think that he's got them where how he wants them to be playing?
Yeah, I think the momentum is with Fulham. I think they haven't really been losing, if you know what I mean. They seem to draw the majority of their games. They didn't really have the firepower. They were playing lots of streak up front. But they've brought in Maja now, and Mitrovic played the second half. So if they can get them in some sort of goal scoring form, I think the momentum is with them, because like the Newcastle, they've lost Saint Maximin and Wilson. They're not in good form. Brighton can't finish, even though they play such great football. But look where it's got them, not very high up the table. So I think Fulham, since the first day of the season, I think the commentator said only 2 of that starting 11 was in the starting 11 v City the other day. I think Anguissa is a great player. He can carry the ball forward for them. He's good on the ball and he's good at winning the ball back. Lamine is also a good player, as you Liverpool fans now know. And I think Adebayo, even though he made a mistake, along with Anderson, they formed quite a solid partnership. They're not really conceding as much as they were at the start of the season. So I think I'd like to see Fulham stay up, because I think Parker's done quite a good job to get them from where they were looking at the start of the season. They were looking like a very poor side that would struggle to break 25 points. So I think we labelled them as one of the worst teams in the Premier League ever. And so did Jamie Carragher on Monday Night Football. I think in the early parts of the season, he said they were guaranteed to go down. So I think it would be good if Fulham could prove us all wrong and stay up.
Yeah, along with Brighton, they have the most amount of draws, as you said. So like they haven't drawn a lot of games. I really do hope they stay up. So I do like Stuart Parker, and I hope Brighton go down. I just don't like Brighton. I hope they go down, especially with Graham Potter, because we won't go into it, but you know what I'm on about. This whole expected goals, their dominant games. I don't care. He wears a turtleneck. I don't care. He has posters of Pep up on his wall. I do not care. Right? If he goes down, he goes down, and I hope he does, so I can get proven right. Anyway, yeah, I don't think there's really much to add on that thing. Luke, Connor, do you have anything to add on the game? I don't know if you've watched it or not, but it's just inevitable that you win it now.
Yeah, no, there's nothing really to add. Like, it's kind of, we just expect City to win now. Like, it's sort of, there's no change really every week. It was interesting though to see Jesus and Aguero both playing. Jesus out on the wing, but yeah, no, apart from that, like, it was kind of just a standard performance from them.
I just add City. I think they played a back five with Laporte, Diaz, Stones, Cancelo, and Mendy. Now, I don't know what the thinking behind that was. I don't know if it's like the yearly thing with Guardiola overthinking before the Champions League comes up, but I'm not sure what that was about. So it'll be interesting to see if they stick with that or just go back to their preferred 4-3-3.
Look, all I'm going to say is if it happens again, right, and he starts messing around against Gladbach, they're 2 or 3-0 up against Gladbach. 2, I think. They probably will go through regardless of what team they play.
Yeah, it's 2 now.
It is around this time where he starts, losing his marbles, trying to reinvent the game mid-season. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I did kind of find that weird, the way he went to a 5, but sure. Well, I have to wait and see if he does it again. Moving on then to the North London derby. Arsenal coming out winners. Tottenham took the lead with Lamella's goal, which was ridiculous. I think the main talking point is, from a Tottenham perspective, it's just like they are really Mourinho especially is being let down by awful defenders. Like Matt Doherty against Tierney. Like the fact that he's going on international break with Ireland next week gives me just more like immeasurable pain having to watch him on national television. Like, he is horrendous. I thought he was good at Wolves. He was so bad. Tierney had him on strings again. Or not again, sorry. But it's another kind of wide player or that's had him on strings. And like, that is worrying from an Irish perspective. But in general, Tottenham just kind of stupid kind of defensive errors. I thought the Davinson Sanchez penalty, he is going in for the tackle, but like, I don't know why you're flying in like that. Like, just let him have the shot. Like, hopefully the keeper saves. Like, it's not an easy finish for Lacazette either. I just thought it was stupid, but like, I think Mourinho, I don't think it's all on the players. I think Mourinho set up in a way where like they weren't going to, create a lot of chances and stuff like that. But yeah, just Connor on Tottenham, like, this seems to be a recurring problem where Mourinho is just kind of hoping they get a couple like chances on the counter. Do you think that's what cost them at the weekend? And like, going forward now with the pressure beginning to mount again on him, like, do you think he just needs to change now? Like, obviously he doesn't trust his defenders, so that's why he's very kind of conservative, pragmatic. Do you think, but like, do he need to start cutting out chance for Kane? Like, Kane didn't have a sniff all game.
Yeah, I think at the start of the season now, obviously Son went off injured, I think, after 20 minutes or so. I think the reason why Tottenham are even like where they are now is because Kane and Son have literally been carrying the team.
Yeah.
He doesn't trust the defenders at all. I thought Bale was very poor again. Literally played 2 good games. He can't seem to perform on the big stage. And Lamela, like I think he came on for Son, didn't he?
Yeah, good goal.
And then, like fair play, he got his goal. But like you don't get 2 yellow cards in 10 minutes. Like when the game is like still in the balance, you're still in the game. He's flying in with 2 stupid challenges.
Yeah.
And I just think we said this before, he's a bit of a passion merchant, and he just like you can't be doing that if you want to be getting European football. I just think Tottenham in general, we said this like ages ago, and I just said it there again. Like they're too reliant on Kane and Son, and the rest of the team just expects them to score. It's kind of like United being reliant on Bruno Fernandes as well. And like it's an 11-player game. Like you need all the players to perform.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Like I think they're just expecting for like Kane to get on the end of a cross or something like that. I think they are very over reliant on the two of them. And that's when you need Bale to like start showing up in the bigger game. And you need Lucas Moura, you need Bergwijn to start chipping in, because that's what they're not scoring enough at all. And then the defensive frailties are being highlighted even more because the fact that it's costing the game. But moving on to Arsenal, Luke, like I thought the lineup was very interesting. I just want to talk about the Aubameyang thing, and apparently he was left out. Well, apparently he was meant to start, and then he was left out with disciplinary issues. I think it's been more or less confirmed that he showed up late to a meeting, or like not meeting. He showed up late to the pre-match kind of whatever they have. Like if he's meant to be captain, like do you think that's just kind of, even though they won the game, of course, but do you think that just kind of like, I don't know, sums up my Arsenal team in a way? Like it's just so, your captain doing stuff like that, like it does kind of sum them up a little bit. I really rate Arteta for doing that, and like he's like if they want to be serious again, like they need to cut out stuff like this.
Yeah, I think Arteta kind of won in every aspect on the weekend, because obviously I'd like to know how late Aubameyang was, because to get dropped from the team and not even put on, he must have been significantly late to whatever meeting he was supposed to be at. So that's not really good enough. And Arteta did the right thing and dropped him, and then in the end didn't even need to bring him on, still won the game. So that's good for them. And then also just on Aubameyang being the captain, I've seen him, he seems to be gassing himself on Twitter a lot, like with his haircuts and his, I scored a goal, but we drew, but I scored, so I'll just post a load of happy shit. But like, you need to be a bit more serious as Arsenal captain and actually lead the team. Like you scored, but a draw in that game is not good enough. So I don't know why you should be like gassing yourself over a goal. You're supposed to be the main goal scorer in this team. You're supposed to be leading them to wins, not draws against mediocre clubs. I think Lacazette came in on the weekend, and I think he did well. I don't think Aubameyang is really, I wouldn't say he's not important, but I think Arsenal can get results without him, so he needs to watch himself.
He does, like, and like the thing is, who do you give the armband to? Like you give it to Xhaka, but he can make a mistake at any time, and like he's more reliable in recent years, but he's not fully reliable. Like Burnley the other day, I don't know what he was doing. And then Louise, he's dodgy as well. Like I'd probably give it to Tierney or something like that. Like I like Tierney. I think he's a leader in like every respect, the way he applies himself. But like I said, like Aubameyang, like I feel like he's what age? He's 32 years of age, and he acts like a 19-year-old. Like come on, man, like grow up, basically. Like grow the fuck up, seriously. And if you're gonna be captain this club, like of Arsenal, you need to be like, I'm not saying be like Vieira or like be like a Keane, but like it's not about taking the piss. But moving on to the game, like it was interesting. I thought Smith Rowe and Odegaard, like the fact that they were playing in the same 11, I like that. I think they linked up well. I think that is possible. I thought many people probably thought it was Odegaard or Smith Rowe for most games, but I think they really linked up well. Charlie, who impressed you the most from an Arsenal standpoint?
I think for once their defense was quite decent. Like
Yeah,
Gabriel, he struggled uh post COVID. I think he got COVID. He's come back. He didn't really look the same. Scored a few own goals, but he's back in the team now, and he seems to be back to his start of the season self.
yeah,
He scored a great header in the Europa League, and he carried that form into the weekend. I think Tottenham, their only shot for the first 70 minutes was that Lamella shot. So
yeah,
that's an indication of how solid Arsenal were. Xhaka and Partey seem to have formed a good partnership in the midfield as well. But I do think, like, Odegaard, we can say he played well, but is he going to sign with Arsenal in the summer,
yeah,
or are they going to have the same problems they did earlier in the season? And if they are looking to sign him, they're going to have to fork out, I would say, around 50 million at least
yeah,
for Odegaard. So, and we all know Arsenal, they're financially, there's not as rich as the teams around them. So they're going to have to make a few sales. I think that's why the likes of, like, certain big players you would think Arteta would use more often, they've sort of been left out. Like, I think the reason he's not playing Nelson and Ketia, maybe even Lacazette, he wasn't supposed to start, is because he's looking to sell them while they have value, get money, and then use that money to build a team of players he wants. I'm surprised he doesn't use players like Nelson and Ketia, because they seem to be the sort of players he likes, like young. They'll press for you, they'll work hard for you, but he doesn't seem to want to use them. So I think he's trying to maybe set them up for sales, and then spend the money wisely, and hopefully bring them back at least into the top four next season.
yeah. I would think you just sell Pepe. Like they need to obviously raise funds, and like they're running out of time to recoup as much as they can from him. So just sell him. He's useless. So yeah, but moving on anyway to the next game. United West Ham, pretty boring game to be fair, but United got the win against a good West Ham team. So no complaints, Charlie, Luke, no complaints then. Good win. Nah, you guys were obviously watching. I watched a bit of it. Good, like obviously, I think that kind of wraps up top four for you now. Luke, what were your thoughts on the game?
I think it was a typical United performance over the past few months. I mean, it was a boring game. There wasn't many chances until we took the lead. Then we can counter attack, and then we actually looked like a half decent team. But I just think on the ball, when the other teams sit back, I don't think we're good enough as a team to break teams down. I mean, we got an own goal from a corner, but like, you're not going to get that every game. If we hadn't got that, you might have been looking at another 0-0, which would have been, I think, and like, we've got a lot of 0-0s over the past few months. So we need to work on, like, we need to score against AC Milan on Thursday. Otherwise, we're out. So we need to work on our possession with the ball and actually breaking teams down, because when they put a low block in front of us, particularly without Pogba in the team and McTominay and Fred trying to tread balls through to our attacking players, we just don't look dangerous at all, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good win, but I wouldn't actually say yet that we're nailed on for top four, because we do still have to play teams like Leicester, Liverpool, obviously. I think we have Wolves on the last day. That could be a nervy one. So, like, there is a few tests still to come, and there's particularly a lot of teams that will sit behind the ball. It's up to us to break them down. So I think the style of play has to get a lot better, because over the past few weeks we've had a lot of boring displays, and it hasn't really been acceptable, to be honest. The amount of chances we're creating isn't enough at all. So we need to work on that. But yeah, it was a good win, and I actually think the defense over the past few weeks has actually been pretty decent. I have to give credit to Maguire. He was good on the weekend. But yeah, it's a good win for us. Hopefully we can actually get some players back from injury and get a good run of form going and actually start scoring some goals.
Yeah, like obviously, like 3 points, as you said. Charlie, do you think, like, I think obviously there's still plenty to play for the season, but kind of going forward now after the international break, do you think Ollie will be kind of thinking of what he needs in the summer, and what he can do in the market to improve on what he has? And obviously now I think it's more or less confirmed that he's got a new contract. Um, first of all, what's your thoughts on the new contract actually? And going forward now after the international break, do you think that like Ollie will be kind of looking at what's going to happen and like looking forward and what he needs in the market?
Well, on the contract situation, I'm not going to comment on that until the end of the week because it obviously good win against West Ham. That was a good start to the week, but we're now playing Milan in the Europa League. If we don't win that, we're out. We're then playing Leicester on the weekend in the cup. If we don't win that, we're out. And that if we do lose those two games, which we could because or we more than likely will because we're bottlers. But moving, I think if we don't win those two games, we've just become Arsenal, realistically, like just setting for top four mediocrity. And I think on the transfers, I mean, it's hard to know who we're actually in for because every newspaper, every day, every journalist writes shite about United, and you don't know who to believe, who not to believe. People are saying Haaland's our main target. The next week it'll be Sancho. The next week it'll be back to Varane. So no one really knows, but I think there's clear areas where we have to improve, and I think it's blatantly obvious that we need a centre back.
Yeah.
We need a number 6 because Fred and McTominay haven't cut it, and we need a right winger because we haven't had a right winger since Ronaldo left.
Yeah.
Like we brought in Valencia to replace him, and he had to go back to right back, and he used to have to cover the whole right side by himself because we don't even employ a single right winger. It's a joke. Even when Ahmad comes on, he's been employed down the left at times. He didn't really play right mid when he played in the Europa League. He seemed to be playing as a split striker or something. Like, how long can we have the same issues before they're actually acknowledged? Obviously, we've made a few appointments in the board. What is it? A director of football, or we brought in some nobody, John Murtough, who's just mates with Woodward. Fair play, but anyway, certain top reds will lap that up as improvement, but I don't see it at all. He was already employed by the club. He's just got a change in role. They just changed his name. They don't fuck all. But anyway, Woodward's just bottling control of the transfers, handing it over to someone else, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see to the end of the week, as I said, because if we lose these two games, I don't think it's acceptable to award him with a contract with the way we're playing, because it's boring.
Yeah.
It's too pace-based. He just puts people with pace on the pitch and expects them to do something. How about we fucking put people who can play football on the pitch and see if we can get them to score a goal? If you look at Man City's team, right? Hang on. If you look at Man City's team, they have with pace. Sterling. That's it. No one else is fast. Jesus isn't fast. Aguero isn't fast. De Bruyne isn't fast. Bernardo isn't fast. Gundogan isn't fast. And Mahrez isn't fast either. He's not slow, Mahrez, but he's not lightning quick. Ollie's just like, yeah, the history of United, we've always had fast players. So Rashford, Greenwood, and Dan James, you go on and do a job, even though they can't do anything if you put a deep block in front of them. They have nowhere to run. They don't know what to do. I can't put up with it much longer, to be honest. So at the end of this week, I'll make comments on it, but I'm not happy with the football at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's understandable. Like, it is boring. You can see on like even social media, you don't even have to watch the games. Fans aren't happy. But yeah, no, what I meant to kind of ask you, I just butchered the fucking question. But like, Connor, I forgot to add this. Like, just before we move on, what do you think the minimum expectation should be for United fans? And what do you think will be expecting this team to achieve this season? They're still in a couple of competitions. Obviously, as Charlie said, it's a huge week in the cup competitions. What would you be kind of expecting if you were in their position?
Well, I think if I was a United fan looking at it, I think they kind of got a bit unlucky, the fact that City went on that really good run of form.
Yeah.
Because like they genuinely were in the title race for a while until City sort of stormed away with it. But I think if United just won, if they won the Europa League, I think they'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
I think they have to win a trophy this season. It's I think if they don't win a trophy this season, as Charlie and Luke, they've pretty much said all that needs to be said about it. Like the
Yeah,
football at the moment, it's not good to watch really at all. And we've been saying this the whole time about United. Just they can't seem to break down defenses at all.
yeah,
So if they're not going to be challenging for the title next season, I don't think, unless they make big improvements in the summer.
yeah.
And especially with the fact that City and Liverpool, I'd say, will probably both be back up to 90 points plus next season again.
Yeah, I agree. I think the failing to break down deep blocks is probably something to do with like I think Bruno needs to. I know he's been brilliant. I'm actually a huge fan of Bruno. I love how kind of I love how he's been able to produce his output that he's done. But I think in the final 30 is a bit wasteful at times, and I think that's what Ollie will be asking from him going forward to try create more chances for the front men. But yeah, I think they do need to win a trophy 100%. Like they are in enough competitions. I think the Europa League they should be favourites, and like especially the fact that like Liverpool are winning the Champions League in at the end of May. That will still fall another trophy behind in the overall major honours. So that's not good either. So they need to keep pace with us after we win number 7. But moving on to us anyway, back-to-back wins for the first time in 50 years. It felt like just quickly on it, like it was a very boring game. I thought we were okay. It was an improvement, but we weren't amazing, I don't think. I thought at times we were a bit wasteful with the ball. I liked the midfield. I think Fabinho did well. Wijnaldum was okay. Thiago was a weird one for me, man. I just think like it was so annoying. He gave away the ball a few times, made a few stupid challenges, but his intent was there, and like he was chasing back. He was winning the ball. He won the ball back like 4 or 5 times, which was good. He's made some good passes. I think I think last night he just looks tired to me because there was intent there, but he was late to challenges, losing concentration. And I think let him refresh over the international break. Hopefully, he doesn't play too much minutes, and then he'll be a bit key towards going towards the end of the season. Good to have Fabinho with him in midfield as well. But on the front three, obviously, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Firmino, but I think this is our best front three for going forward. I don't think Mane was amazing last night. I think he's been the worst out of the 3 this season, in my opinion. But considering the quality he has, but I thought he was good last night. He got the assist. Still gave the ball away a few times. And he was a bit sloppy, but I thought overall he was good, and I can't really criticize him. I think that's one thing I know I've said. I'm not backing off what I said. I do think if we want to be serious, we need to sell one of the front 3. And I think he's more likely. But it's one of those things where I'm not 100% on it because he can be brilliant. And like I think he still has that in him. But Jota again, I think, I know it's on Twitter. Imagine Firmino had that chance, he missed it. Like, okay, I don't care. Jota was good, got the goal. Needs to improve on his link-up play if he wants to play as a number 9. Salah was quiet. I thought defensively Trent was superb, absolutely superb. I don't know we were watching it, Conor. I thought he was superb. Trent defensively, I think he gets a lot of stick on his defensive qualities, but I think he's really improved this season defensively. Kabak and Phillips. Maldini and Baresi don't really see much difference. Superb. Robertson needs a rest by looks of it. But yeah, kind of what do you think of the game as a whole? Do you think? I think there is clear improvements. We didn't lose, but overall, would you be expecting more going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good week. Obviously, winning in the Champions League, keeping the clean sheet, going to Wolves, same team unchanged, clean sheet again.
Yeah.
I thought that I know you're giving out about Residio before the game, but I thought he was the best out of the front 3. To be honest, I know.
Oh, he was.
I know his touch did let him down at times, but I thought that the thing that Liverpool were doing well yesterday is we were picking out passes into the front 3 when they're in good pockets of space, instead of just trying to play like a long ball over the top to Salah or just giving it away and conceding on the counter. I think the big improvement, I thought Kabak was, and Nat Phillips, I thought they were excellent at back.
Yeah.
And for once, Trent, actually, his defensive positioning is good. We were talking about that, like the shape of his body when the ball's going over his head. He can't seem to judge it. But I thought he was really good. Robertson, he did look tired, but I thought against Traore, like he did well.
Yeah, he did.
Like he didn't really, like, he had a few chances, but not too much. Salah again quiet. And the good thing is, actually I'll just go over this quickly. Rui Patricio, he seems to be fine. I think it was
That's
just
good,
really
yeah, I was gonna say
precautionary
that.
what happened there.
Yeah.
But I was watching Nuno's interview after the game, and like he immediately, like, he was talking to him after the game, and he seemed to be fine, so that's good.
Yeah.
Again, it was kind of one of those late offside decisions again, which obviously they've been criticised for.
Yeah.
I think one of the things is when it's tight like that now, fair play to the linesman, he got that one spot on. I remember saying that at the time.
Yeah.
But I think when they're like really obviously offside and they don't put up the flag for ages, like that sort of thing is going to cause an injury one of these days.
Yeah.
And I mean, it already has caused injuries. But overall, haven't conceded a goal this week, 2 wins, winning number 7 in Istanbul.
Yeah.
And
Look,
actually, another big thing actually is Everton and West Ham both lost, so top
yeah.
4 is still on the cards as well.
Like exactly. Like, I think this league is just not serious. Like we've lost 6 home games in a row and we're 5 points off top 4. Like we should not be in the discussion. But yeah, I thought we're obviously winning the Champions League, but sorry, Premier League. We're talking about the Premier League. Sorry, but did I mention we're winning the Champions League? Yeah, no, we are. Yeah, I think in terms of the Premier League, top 4 is on. We need to probably just keep winning games. We probably do need to win. I'd say 8 of the last 9. No, not 8. 7 of the last 9 games to get top 4. It'll be difficult, but we'll have to wait and see. Just before we finish, Charlie, we were talking about Adama Traore. Has all the muscles. Yeah, has his Vaseline on, rapid, but his end product is just horrendous. It's so bad.
Yeah, I think like it would help if Jimenez was there. I think he would at least have a few assists. But even if you look at the last minute, he picks the ball up, he skins 3 players, gets to the edge of the box, puts in a cross, 2 people free at the back post, and he puts it over everyone, and the chance is lost. So I think if he had end product, he'd probably be one of the best players in the world, but he doesn't. So that's he still has time to work on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think if you put a striker in the box, as I said, because William Jose he's not it.
Yeah.
That Fabio Silva lad, they just Porto robbed 30 million from Wolves for that. Whatever George Mendes told Wolves to get that deal done.
Yeah.
Porto are absolutely laughing at the moment, but he's just a bottler in front of goal. Obviously, he's young, he might improve, but I think back to Traore, he's probably one of the best 1v1. He probably is the best 1v1 player in the league, but he can't do anything at the end of it.
Yeah.
So if I was his coach, I'd just have him there shooting, crossing all day just to see if he can improve at it, because you can see all the pundits know it as well. This guy could be something special, but he can't do the most important bit, which is at the end, which is picking out a teammate or putting the ball in the net.
Yeah, he seemed to improve on last season, but this season just hasn't been it. Well, Luke, before we go, can Liverpool get top 4?
I mean, yeah, they can, but are they gonna?
Yes.
I mean, if you keep not conceding like you have been this week, then you have every chance. But I think the front 3 really need to hit some form, because like you can give out about your defense, but they haven't really been conceding 2s and 3s. It's been kind of scoring goals that's been your problem. So you need them to start hitting some form, and then you can easily. The commentator said it last night. You are one of the few teams in the league that can easily win 6 and 7 games on the bounce. So it could happen, but judging by your patchy form this season, I don't think you will win 6 or 7 in a row. But I still think you could get top 4 at the end of the season, although you're not the favourites or the second favourites, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be between us and Chelsea, the last one. I think Leicester might be home and host, but they do have tough fixtures. But yeah, that's probably all we have time for now. Thanks again, lads. Obviously there's a few games in other competitions, and I think there's a couple of Premier League games this weekend that they're like games in hand for certain teams. But yeah, going forward to the international break, we might do a video on. I was thinking the World Cup qualifiers are starting. We can do an Irish video and just rant about how shit we are. So yeah, we might do that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Share with your mates, of course. Subscribe. When you get to 200, when are we going to get to 200 by, lads? I'd say end of
next year.
no.
Charlie's doing a giveaway. He's signing a pair of black gloves and doing a giveaway for when we get to 200 subs.
Yeah, exactly. We're giving away a
I will, mate.
We're giving away
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Merch dropping soon.
All you have to do is subscribe, yeah, and you get a chance to win a PS5, Xbox, the new Xbox, and the jersey of your choice. There you go. Thanks for watching anyway, lads, and yeah.